It's a little bit of a homecoming for us. 4 years ago, we had our Blue Economy Conference at Hotel 1620, and our very first networking event was here, but we didn't call it Ugly Fish. It didn't get ugly until Mike Cahill introduced the very concept to us, and we loved it immediately. Did we not, Michelle?
Yeah.
In fact, not only did we love it, when we took the idea to some of our funding partners like Northeastern Savings Bank, it took them no time to support this. I've asked you for a lot today, but if I ask you for one more thing, it's please give Northeastern Savings Bank a round of applause for being a legacy sponsor all 4 years. Brian's a big fan and patron of the arts, and we really appreciate your support, Brian, as always. One of the things that I mentioned last time we were here when we were honoring a past guest was that Carl Sagan required or insisted that the early versions of the satellites include things like cameras. Cameras yielded literally no useful scientific information at all, but he knew that in order to capture the imagination and the interest of the public, you had to have those pictures. And that's really what art also does for us. We had Keith Ellenbogen, who's a brilliant underwater photographer here, and he kind of proved that point. I mean, look at me. I'm semi-buoyant. I'm not going down more than 5 feet before I push back to the surface, right? Keith dives down into places, into new worlds that most of us will never go, right? He brings that information back to us. Today, we're honoring someone who actually paints the expression. Mike Palmer is someone that we met over the summer. Michelle and I visited him at his home, and we found that, right from his bio, his artistic style combines science with creative sides and a stylized realism that balances scientific accuracy and aesthetics. His approach is greatly influenced by the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi. Yeah? I'm nailing it today, guys. He embraces the simple, beautiful, utilitarian, poorly defined, multi-purpose, imperfect, and ever-evolving. Ladies and gentlemen, the point of the STEAM Award is to honor those people who have an excellence in art as in the blue economy. And so to make sure that we are properly honoring the people who receive this award, we are honored tonight to give this to you, Mike Palmer. Thank you for your contributions to art and the blue economy. Let's hear it for him. Would you like this underneath? Tell them how heavy it is.
It's a weapon. Thank you very much. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a true honor to receive the Plymouth Foundation Blue Future STEAM Award. I'm deeply grateful to the committee and to everyone who helped bring this evening together. The conference was a fantastic success. I'm not Bill Nye, so hopefully that you didn't come expecting somebody as famous and as energetic and engaging as Bill, but I'll do my best to take his place. I'm especially grateful this evening to have my family in the audience. They're behind you, so thank you for making the trek down and trek up to come visit. So for me, this award feels like a confirmation of a life shaped by water, science, and art. Over the years, I've learned that real discovery doesn't happen inside a single discipline. It happens where observation, creativity, and culture meet, where science and story, data and lived experience, art and ecology flow together. That's the essence of STEAM, and where the blue economy thrives, at the intersection of healthy ecosystems, vibrant communities, and livelihoods that endure. Tonight, I want to share how water has been my compass, how integrating science and art revealed a deeper truth, and how our connection to place lies at the heart of it all. I've always been drawn to water. As a kid in northern Massachusetts, I spent hours in overlooked places, marshy corners of suburbia, farm ponds, and slow brooks. I sensed I was watching a conversation between water and land, seasons and cycles. These early observations were my first lesson in STEAM, integrating scientific curiosity with an eye for the world around us. Water set my direction, pulling me to college in Maine and Alaska and then out to sea with NOAA as a fisheries scientist. For 2 decades, I spent hundreds of days on fishing and research vessels studying the cod, flounder, and scallops that feed our communities. My job was to build models to understand fish populations and guide policy. The work mattered, but it also revealed limits. Over time, I felt a tension. Data can tell us abundance and distribution, but they don't capture the experiences of fishermen who have worked these waters for generations, the cultural traditions that tied communities to the sea, or the stories that made a place more than coordinates on a chart. I realized that numbers alone couldn't fully convey the pulse of a living ecosystem. To truly understand the world around us, We must listen not only to the data, but the stories that water tells. That tension came into focus once I became a parent. Walking the waterfronts with my children, I began to see through their eyes what I'd spent years trying to measure. I didn't just want them to understand the ocean through fish stock assessments or survey data. I wanted them to feel the living connection between people and water. These aren't separate systems. They're stories that flow together, passed from one generation to the next. So science gave me clarity, but I came to understand that it was the stories that gave the work meaning. In 2022, I left federal service and returned to something I hadn't touched in years, making art. Not as a hobby, but as a tool for understanding the world in ways numbers alone can't capture. I founded the Wacoit Bay Fish Company as a studio where science and creativity could meet, a place to explore the living world through the nature-inspired fine art drawn from my years as both a scientist and a fisherman. Art lets us see what science alone can't, the living stories of the world around us. My goal has been simple, to help people connect with nature by bringing the outside in. One of my first projects with the Cape Cod Commercial Fishermen's Alliance paired scientific illustrations of local species with stories from the fishermen who catch them. Visitors learned not just about the fish, but about the ports, the communities, and the blue economy they sustain. It was a clear demonstration of the power of integration. When art, cultural history, and ecology come together, our understanding grows in ways that no single approach can achieve. As I drew fish and documented the coast, I found myself drawn back to the freshwater streams and ponds that were my earliest teachers. Salt water commands awe, but it's the freshwater water that offers intimacy. These are the landscapes that first taught me to slow down, pay attention, and feel my place within a living system. Today, these same waters are a bridge I can share with my children. No boats or gear are required, only boots, curiosity, and unhurried time. Here, they're discovering the same rhythms of change that captivated me, ensuring that freshwater becomes both cherished memory and a precious inheritance. This practice of deep attention, cultivated through art, eventually drew me back to science. This return felt less like a career shift than a homecoming. So in 2024, I joined the Association to Preserve Cape Cod as a restoration ecologist, working to help coastal rivers and wetlands recover from centuries of alteration. I've come to understand that science gains power when it's seen through the eyes of creativity, just as art gains meaning when it serves the living world. Our work is technical but personal, removing barriers to fish passage, restoring native species, and reconnecting waterways to their communities. Art remains that bridge. Through illustration and storytelling, I translate complex restoration science into experiences that show how ecosystem health, human well-being, and economic vitality are linked. This work centers on diurnal species, fish like river herring and sea-run brook trout, whose lives depend on moving between salt and fresh water. For them, restoration is survival. Removing a dam or replacing a culvert restores ancient pathways, reconnecting a fish to their spawning grounds and people to the rivers that sustain them. The results can be dramatic. Streams once quiet rebound within a few seasons, alive again with a flash of herring and the countless creatures that depend on them. These migrations blur the boundaries we impose on ecosystems, and they mirror the boundary crossings in my own work. Between art and science, ecology and community, this convergence is the essence of STEAM, where knowledge and creativity unite to inspire meaningful action. Water has taught me that everything is connected. Rain in our forests flows through the rivers I help restore and into the coastal waters I once studied and out to the open ocean. Along that journey, each connection supports not only ecosystems but economies, the foundation of the blue economy. Thriving waterways are not just ecological treasures, they're economic lifelines. And STEAM isn't just science plus art, it's how observation, creativity, and experience come together to reveal what matters. A restoration project isn't just measured in fish counts. It comes alive with stories, drawings, and lived knowledge. This integration creates systems where communities prosper, ecosystems recover, and wisdom flows across generations. The next generation will need this integrated mindset to create solutions that are both ecologically resilient and socially meaningful. Most importantly, they'll need to carry a sense of wonder. That's the gift that bridging art and science. It cultivates the attention, care, and imagination that keeps our relationship with the natural world alive. May we all continue to bring curiosity and collaboration to this work. By honoring the needs of both our communities and our coastal waters, we can build a resilient economy and inspire solutions that sustain this place and the people who call it home for generations to come. Thank you.
Did we not choose well? Did we not? When we started this, we weren't sure if we would be able to keep this particular program going. In fact, we have a bit of a backlog of nominees. So to all of you in the room, for next year and subsequent years, if you know someone who performs excellently as Mike does in the arts and blue economy, let Michelle, myself, Mike, or Sarah know. We would like very much to make sure that people like this are exposed to the community. We have one more bit of presentation today. Last year, some of you might remember that we had our networking event. Where was it? It was on a rooftop somewhere. It was on, the terrace. It was at the terrace. Thank you for remembering. Well, you sponsored last year, so I'm glad you remembered. And while there, we heard from someone who gave us an amazing insight to why maps look the way they do from the age of exploration. Why are there sea serpents and dragons on these maps? Those very maps, in fact, are the things that inspired our mascot, Thoreau. It was Henry David Thoreau who wrote in his journal in 1859 that there was a sea serpent first seen in the bay between Manomet and Plymouth Beach. And this gentleman, who I'm about to honor with another STEAM award, there's two, oh my God! He educated us last year, and he also gave us a great deal of validity for why we chose the sea serpent we did, right? I mean, part of the story about the Pilgrims that sometimes doesn't resonate anymore is that it was colonialism and religious separatism, right? One of the things about the Pilgrim story that always stood out to me was that, I mean, if you forgot your hairbrush, there's no Walgreens when they got here to go get a new one, right? You had to make something new. They had a bold, intrepid entrepreneurial spirit, and every entrepreneur I've ever met in my career, doing this more than 20 some odd years, they knew that there'd be dragons, but they almost didn't care. They were ready for whatever challenge they were going to come across. And so in that regard, we honor the Pilgrims by also having this bold, intrepid entrepreneurial spirit exhibited through this conference. But they were only successful because they were met with 10,000 years of innovation, right? And that's the Wampanoag contribution to this story. That's a long way to say, too, that Glenn Gawerkowitz, did I do it? Yeah? You guys are challenging me today. Glenn Gawerkowitz presented to us last year nobly, honorably, and taught us a great deal about art as it relates to blue economy. So we would like to do a little bit of a catch-up and honor him also with a STEAM award. Sir?
I don't have anything prepared, but I just want to say what a great day this has been in terms of connection. And hearing Michael talk about the connection to CCCFA and the way that the art and the science has so seamlessly come together, it's just an absolute joy to be here with such a rich sense of history. And I do want to say that I actually have a PhD student right now, Grace Jensen, who is a member of the Wampanoag tribe there. And so there's just many ways, I think, that we're all coming closer together because, as was stated a number of times today, we're all in this together. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our formal presentation. This will be the last time you get to hear my voice for one more year. Thank you all for coming. I so appreciate it. Eat and drink and stay until 7. Oh, there is one more bit of information I need to make sure I get to because we have a number of fine dining establishments who created specialty menus just for the conference tonight. So at the Tasty, I'm not going to read these, Honey Baby, Cork and Table, and Speedwell. Actually, I'm going to read the Speedwell. Speedwell is offering the Climate Denier wing sauce. It's a sweltering sauce made with bright, hot flavors of orange, ginger, and habanero that could make even the biggest skeptic sweat. Huh? So I'm going to leave this on the piano. If you're interested in where to go for dinner tonight when you leave here, please consider one of these great dining establishments. Thank you, everyone.